Okay, so also Zoom meetings can be a little difficult. So if any time during the duration of this presentation, anyone's having trouble viewing the screen or hearing the speaker, or there's something wrong, please let us know using the chat feature as well. If you're on the phone, if you're joining us on the phone, you can review this recorded workshop at your convenience on the website, and we'll share those details at the end of the presentation as well. This will be an open forum at the end of the Q&A questionnaire, so please be respectful, and allow, proper time for management of questions too. All right, we'll go ahead and begin. Tonight's agenda, we're going to be going over the grant program overview, the eligibility and requirements, the scoring criteria, and our internal review process. We appreciate you taking the time out of your afternoon to join us tonight, and we're going to begin. Before we dig into the meat and potatoes of this program, I just wanted to introduce our Measure AV grant program team, who will be assisting in the application process. My name is Jordan Kelly. I'm a management analyst in the Parks and Recreation Department. And with us on the call is Nardi Lopez, assistant to the city manager, Patricia Morales, community programs coordinator, and Terry Zayas, management analyst. At the bottom of your screen, you'll have some information that will be shared again at the end of the presentation as well. So if you can't get it, we'll be sure to share that with you. Any questions or inquiries regarding your application or questions regarding your eligibility, please be sure to reach out to this email address, and it will go to all four of us, and one of us will answer your questions and get back to you. All of the application portals, requirements, resources, links will be located at the City of Palmdale's website at Grant Opportunities, and you can also click that, and we can share that with the group as well. So the Measure AV, the goal of it is bringing opportunity to Palmdale. The Palmdale Cares Community Grant Program is helping to address critical issues and provide programs and services to local military veterans, at-risk youth, mental health, food and shelter services, community-based policing, and crime prevention. These are the main goals of our measure, and with this program, we are trying to get these funds to these organizations and agencies in order to help fund these specific categories. Within the application, there will be a section that will list these different funding categories, and they'll be part of your application. All right, so if you have not already, the portal has opened. It opened on Monday at 10 a.m. And from here, on this web address, you will see our landing page, and this is what it looks like. And this is the apply now, where you go to the actual application. On this page is a lot of resources and different links to go to, if you have questions with the small business, if you have questions about, our city business licenses or any other requirements, you can see all those resources here. The workshop will be recorded and placed here as well. So this is kind of the one source area where you will find updates and any new information on this program. To the right of the screen, this is a snapshot of what the grant application looks like. So if you have not seen this or you need more help, please feel free to reach out to us, and we can definitely guide you in the right direction. All right, so we're going to go over the deadline and timeline of this program. The application period runs from January 10th through January 27th and is due by 5 p.m. Awarding of funds, applicants will be notified of award status within 60 business days of the closing of the application portal and after a thorough documentation review. During this time, you may be connected by one of our staff members of missing documentations or questions based on your documentations, or missing information, be sure to check your email and your voicemails consistently, so that way we can get that in within that time period. We don't want to miss that. We also do have a reporting requirement that has to be submitted at least 1 year after receiving the funds or earlier when the project is completed. This is kind of just a quick timeline for your information and your viewing, kind of where we are. So we're currently in the process of the portal being open and the applications due. The committee will be consisting of 2 different review committees. We'll have our initial documentation requirement committee, as well as the final review committee that will take it to council. So that review period will be 30 to 60 days of closing of the portal, and the awarding of funds and final council approval will be within 60 business days of closing the portal. So for eligibility, you must either be a nonprofit or a community-based business or agency. You must provide direct services to the city of Palmdale community. I've gotten some questions about this, and you do not have to have your business within the city of Palmdale limits, but it has to provide those services to Palmdale. We'll get more on the scoring criteria, but there is a benefit to having your business or agency within the city limits. You will get more points for that, and we'll go over that in just a little bit. You have to have at least a 2-year history of service in the city of Palmdale, and we will require those documentations to be uploaded in the portal. You must have a current business license. This doesn't necessarily need to be a city of Palmdale business license, but we need to see that you have that business license in your holding. For specific questions regarding a certain agency, please reach out to us again, and we'll be sure to kind of help guide and see what we can do with that. Organization should fit into one of the following categories that we went over of services, and that will be selected on the application itself. You must sign a funding agreement that will be provided to you after the awarding of funds, and you must submit a final closing statement before 1 year after the program is completed. So on our website, you will see under the resources section, you will have this document matrix, and it will provide kind of a visual on what to expect based on the threshold of amount that you're requesting and the agency. It's very similar, but there are a couple little tweaks. Again, it may be some overwhelming information, or you may have more questions. We are here to help kind of guide you through that, and we will have all the resources on that web page. And this is there, so if you want to study it some more and kind of save it and kind of guide through your checklist of completed documents, that is there for you. So under scoring criteria, these are the main points that we are going to have the final review committee score your application on. You will be required to submit answers for any type of agency and any threshold amount. And you'll be scored using the following. So the organization location, if it's within city of Palmdale limits, you'll get points for that. Your services and recipients, based on the quality of your narrative on what you provide and who's getting it. Organizational accomplishments, what's been your bread and butter, what's been your wins, what have you been doing within the community. We want to know about community partnerships between other nonprofits or other agencies or other businesses. And we really want to see the Palmdale community benefit. How is this benefiting our community members and youth or military or mental health or whichever category. So the really quality results. And then lastly, your measurements and outcomes. What are you measuring, and what do you expect to project for the outcome of this money to do this program or service? Okay, so this is kind of a general overview of our application review process that I had mentioned a little bit earlier. Once you submit your application, it will go through a process of the initial committee review, and that is the 4 of us that I introduced earlier. We will be looking for proper documentations, proper budget cost proposals. We will be looking for incomplete works that you might have missed or skipped over, and making sure we have all the whole picture of your application. And then it will go through the recommendation committee review. And this will include a Measure AV representative, and they will not be affiliated with an active application. And they'll be reviewing your applications and giving their final recommendations to City Council for approval. All right, so now we are to our Q&A session. And I know we have some questions. So let me go ahead. Let's see. All right. Let me stop the share really fast. All right, so we have a question from the beginning of the session. Will we be sending out information you provide today via email? I can go ahead and try to grab all the emails that have been there. And we can try to get that information out by email from registration, but it'll also be available on the website on the screen, and it'll be provided there. Let's see, I have a question, another question. Can you please put the email here for any questions? Sure, let me go ahead and put that for you. So there you go. Another question is, can an agency apply for more than one grant if it has a separate program servicing separate populations? Yes, you can. So you can, if you have separate services of certain programs, or maybe your agency has different divisions, you can absolutely submit a separate application. And we'll go ahead and navigate that. To qualify for the 5 points for a location in Palmdale, does an organization need to be headquartered in Palmdale, or would having an office there suffice? So as we went before, it does not need to be headquartered in Palmdale. It can have an office, and you would get those points for having a location in Palmdale. And then we have do we need community-based certifications? Not sure if you can, we can kind of clarify that a little bit. We're not asking for community-based certifications, but as you go through the application, you kind of see what's required. We can definitely, you can reach out to us and we can kind of see what your specifics are. Okay, and then we have a question about what is the total amount available in grants total for this deadline? So we have $1.5 million allocated to this program at this time. And we're looking to give away, you know, all the money. And if we need, we're not sure how many applications we're going to get, as this is the piloting application period. But we're expecting this program to continue. Is there a maximum request limit? Right now, there is not a limit, but we have the thresholds of small, medium, and large being 25,000 or more. And with more money that is requested, more documentations and review may be, you know, subject to that. Are chambers eligible? I believe if you have a proper agency, I don't see why not, but we can definitely clarify and get back to you on that. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute because we have some questions coming in, and I'm going to have the raising hand feature. That way we can kind of get some interactive. 1 second. Okay. Okay, so we have a question from Ruth. Ruth, can you hear me? I can't hear her. Ruth, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I'm able to now. My question is, our headquarters is based in a different county, and because county records taking long, and they're only doing DVAs by appointment only, they don't have nothing available until 2 months out to do that. And excuse me, and that is in driving down to down below to LA. So how is that going? I mean, is that a factor? The fact that, yeah, we've been operating in Palmdale for years, but just because we recently got our office, we're not applying for our Palmdale license, but we are not able to do it under the nonprofit until we get our DVA. But again, county records is 2 months out.
For those type of situations, why don't you go ahead and email us, and we'll kind of work with you to see what we can do for those and what to submit, and kind of get this going for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so we have another question from Erica.
Yes, thank you. My question is similar regarding the location. Our community organizers are based out of the Antelope Valley, but our headquarters are in the South Bay, and we work out of the neighborhood homes in Palmdale. So yeah, we don't have an actual location because our offices are our home offices, but we work out of the Palmdale neighborhood home. So how does that work as far as location goes for point scoring? Or is that something we might have to work one-on-one to see how we could qualify?
We might have to work one-on-one for that kind of specifics. And again, we don't want to be difficult and too picky on like specifics. But yeah, please reach out to us and we'll kind of work with you one-on-one with that kind of scenario.
Great,
And that
thank you
goes
so
kind
much.
of with all the specific questions regarding each agency, those type of very specific questions. We'll be sure to work with you one-on-one, as there's 4 of us that can kind of navigate this process as we kind of initiate this first round. Okay, thank you. So we have next Gregory.
Hey, Jordan, thanks for the time. Appreciate it. My question was really similar to Dr. Roback's. Can you just run through the 2 years of service requirement in Palmdale once more?
Sure. So let me go ahead and really fast just kind of get my notes. So the 2-year services in Palmdale, we're requesting that to show longevity. And it could be a factor of, you know, you have previous business license with us. You can upload those. You can upload P&Ls. You can upload, you know, certain documents that show that proof. We're not being too picky on those proof. It could be, you know, taxes, it can be property rental, you know, documentation, just kind of showing. And it doesn't have to be just one. It can be, you know, 5 if you feel comfortable. We just want to see that proof of the 2-year history to make sure, you know, that you are having that dedication in the community. And kind of so that way we know the commitment and that you've been having ample time to partner with people and kind of get those services and programs initiated. Does that help?
Absolutely understand. Thank you for the clarity. Much appreciated.
All right, no problem. Thank you. Okay, next we have Beldemir.
Yes, hello, how are you?
I'm good.
My question is, yesterday I was sitting down with different organizations, and many of them, we've been doing all this work in the community throughout the AV, especially in Palmdale, but there's no way for us to show a profit and loss because we only receive in-kind donations, or we have under $1,000 because everything mostly comes up out of our pocket. So there's no way for us to show profit and loss, even though we do our taxes, which is mostly zero. But how we can do that?
Are you talking about for the proof of the 2-year?
Yes.
Yeah, there, we can work with you and kind of see what parameters and documentation specifically for you that we can kind of guide you to upload. Again, like I told Gregory, we're not kind of sticking to a certain documentation, but we'll be sure to work, we can work one-on-one for you too.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up we have Rebecca.
Hi there. Thanks so much for the presentation. It was really helpful to walk through everything. My question is, so are the programs you provide different from who you serve? So for example, I'm not entirely sure that our organization would fall into one of the 5 categories for the program provision. However, we fall into 3 of like the vulnerable populations that like served in Palmdale.
I would probably need a little bit more information on those type of programs or services, but we can kind of see what maybe your scope is and kind of go from there and determine, if that would be a fit for you. And without knowing, your actual scope of what you're proposing, it's hard to kind of say right now. But yeah, again, one-on-one, let's kind of see what you have and see what your service and program that you're pitching and kind of see where we can fit you.
Okay, sounds good. I'll check in.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
And then we have Dr. Woodrow.
Yes, how you doing? I just wanted to kind of expound on the question that Gregory would ask. I just want to make sure I'm clear. When we talk about the 2-year requirement for service in the community, and I understand that there are situations where you may not have, your business may not have been in place for that period of time. It may have been serving in the community. Are there other ways of identifying that outside of some kind of documentation as an organization or your affiliation with a nonprofit or some other organizations in the community? What are the ways that you're looking in terms of qualifying someone as being a partner within a community?
So are you a nonprofit, or are you a business, or are you a education section?
Right now, the Mind Body Spirit Counseling Services is a mental health therapy service in the city of Palmdale. I've been here as a pastor in the community as well, with the Victory Outreach as associate pastor. But I'm just trying to see what other documentation that the organization has been in place for a year. But
Okay.
Once again, it just depends on how you are identifying qualification in that area.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and kind of the same similar situation. Let's kind of have more of a one-on-one conversation to kind of see what documentation might be appropriate for that kind of 2-year history kind of proof.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, next we have Xavier.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. Is the 1.5 million going to be continuous? Do you foresee that this money, same amount, is going to be available next year, or a larger amount next year and years after, or is this a one-year thing?
This program is a brand new program after the passing of the sales tax increase that was approved last year by voters in 2020, should I say. And it is a new program that is an arm of that to give back to those programs and different community agencies. We anticipate that this is a program that's going to be growing and kind of reshaping, and we don't know exactly the allocated amount because that would have to go to council approval, but definitely with the participation and the amounts that we get for this round will really help us kind of determine that and kind of see what the community need is and where we can do going further. But our goal is to continue this.
Thank you. Last question, the format. How many pages, double space, single space? What is it you want us to answer in the narrative?
So in the narrative, so the application portal online is online only. And so as you go through the questions and start answering stuff and all the questions that are required, there is a 6-question area for criteria that you'll be scored on. And it's a minimum of 2,500 words. And maximum of 2,500 words. And that's where you'll put all your narrative in there. So it's all online and you submit that. Also, I meant to mention this when going through the presentation, there is a save and resume feature on there. So if you are going through half of that and you need to get some more documentation in there, or you need to find some more, narrative or whatnot, you can save it and it will be emailed to you and you can resume it at a later time. So that way you don't lose your work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, the next one is it OSIS? OSIS?
It is OSAS. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, thanks for having me. I think I'm on camera now. I'm trying to be, but
There you go.
okay, there we go. My question is, you're asking for a lot of information and records for us to prove and qualify for this funding. You also stated on your website that it will be public record. Clarify for me, please, what part of this you're going to put out there. We want to show you what you need to see so we can be approved. We also need to be cautious about what's going to be posted online. So could you clarify that for us so we'll feel comfortable submitting documents?
Sure, absolutely. So online, it will be majority of it posted, and this may or may not change, which I can definitely clarify with our legal team on this. Online, we posted the winners and the amounts and the agency.
Okay.
When we mean public record, it means that somebody can make a public records request and obtain information to see the transparency of where the funds are going. But I can definitely connect with our city attorneys to kind of see what that all entails and what that looks like. So if you want to go ahead and just to kind of save time and keep track, if you want to send me an email, and I can definitely kind of get in contact with our legal team on your concern.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and then next up we have Nida.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
So I have a quick question. It's kind of goes in part with Maria Mainella, who just posted that. So the AV is a closed community, so many of our programs overlap demographically just throughout the valley. Do you need specifics on the percentage of Palmdale residents are being served? We are based in Palmdale, but we do serve throughout the valley. And then will this need to be allocated on or documented on the closing statement?
We do not have a specific percentage of, Palmdale community residents versus, Lancaster or, incorporated areas of Los Angeles. But we do want to see on the proposal and the final closing statements, kind of your metrics on what you served, how many you served, and kind of what you've done with the money. There isn't a stipulation on, 75% has to be City of Palmdale. Ultimately, a community is more than just one city, but that's why we're kind of opening it outside the city and just kind of giving that little point advantage to those who are kind of more in the city walls. But we definitely want to kind of expand it, and there's no cap.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next I have Lauren.
Hello, good evening, Ms. Kelly. Thank you for this opportunity. My question is in regards to licensure. I know that you said you do not have to have a Palmdale license, but what if we don't have any licensing? Could that be part of the formation that we can put in, like the application? Could the funding be put towards that, towards the licensing and formation of the organization and the programming?
So I would have to get some more specifics on your actual certification, or sorry, your actual application. So that might be a one-on-one kind of a question. There is on the budget form, when you go through the progress, the application, on the budget form, there is a 15% administrative cap on what you can use the funds for. So 15% of your actual grant request. So I'm not sure if that might fit into that category. I would just have to know a little bit more detail.
Follow-up question. Would the business have to be like a community-based organization? Because there is a certification through the Los Angeles County Consumer Affairs, Business and Consumer Affairs Department, where they certify you to be a community-based organization. Do you need any kind of certification? Are you looking for anything like that? Would that help in the scoring of our applications?
So it's not necessarily a scoring criteria, but it may be a required documentation. And again, you would have to go into the application to kind of go through the matrix. So my suggestion is go to the matrix that I had showed on the presentation, and we can definitely kind of work through those, how much are you asking for and what's actually required, because that makes a difference too. So if you're asking for $5,000, you may not need as much. But we can definitely, again, work with you and all those specifics. I know there's a lot of questions and kind of requirements, but we can definitely, get you through that and kind of see what we can get for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have, is it Marzette?
Thank you for having me. Good evening to everyone. And my question might be the same as like hers was. We have been operating here in the Antelope Valley for quite a few years now, and we are nonprofits. We also file our taxes, and we are basically supported by in-kind and our own selves doing what we do. And so I'm concerned about licenses because I did not know we needed a license to do this. So will that hold us back? Do we need to immediately apply for these licenses before we?
So are you meaning the business license?
Yes.
So for nonprofits, it doesn't have to be a business license that you submit for nonprofits. Most of the business license requirements are for actual business owners. So some of those faith-based or housing or, mental health and all that, they don't have to have a business license. It can be a part of your proof of your 2-year operational history, but we're not requiring it. Does that help answer that?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, I have Taniqua. Taniqua, are you there?
Yeah, hello. I'm sorry, I had to unmute. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So my question is kind of towards the funding part of it. So for example, are we to ask for a certain amount or is that something that you guys will determine?
So you can ask for a certain amount. So right now our thresholds, and again, this is all available on the website. The thresholds right now are a small grant that's $5,000 or less, a medium grant, which is $5,001 to $25,000, and a large grant that's $25,001 or more. So if you are asking for $7,500, you would put that in your cost proposal and your amount that you're requesting, and you would fall in between that medium grant threshold. And during the application, it will ask you which threshold that you are inquiring about.
Okay, so for example, say like I came and asked for 15 or 20,000, and then you guys came back and said, okay, we'll grant you 15 or 20,000, and then upon the paperwork coming, we are a 501c3, we are a nonprofit in the Antelope Valley, operating in the area of Palmdale, but we do service the whole entire Antelope Valley. So for example, if I said, okay, we want 15 or 20,000, and then you guys come back and say, we'll give you 15 or 20,000, but then I'm just now filing the last year and this year easy form for the 1099, would that stop me, or would I be able to come back and say, okay, well, either you give me 5,000 or 10,000, or would that be workable? And then I produce that documentation upon, or is that a private conversation? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it might be more of a one-on-one conversation, but it's it's whatever you're proposing for and applying for, that's what we're gonna evaluate you on.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be like, hey, we'll give you, 5,000 less or whatnot because of this. It's whatever you're proposing is what we're reviewing.
Okay. Yeah, because it's just because we got granted 10,000 from a previous grant, and then seemed like that was a little simpler. But then when we came back and asked for a 25,000 government grant, they wouldn't grant it because we didn't have that separation of the forms at that time. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. What's the best amount to ask for upon you guys saying, okay, well, I know for sure I'm just now filing for the 2 years, but we do have everything else you're asking of us.
Yeah, let's go ahead and email us and we can kind of get more details on that and kind of
Okay.
determine where it'd be feasible for you.
Okay, all right.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, we have Sylvia.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I have a question. So with the nonprofits, you also need to see proof of our 501c3.
It depends on the threshold, but yes.
Okay. And then another question. Are there any businesses ineligible? Because I've gotten some calls. One of them was a chiropractor's office that heard about the grant. So are there any businesses that would be ineligible to apply?
I think it's a little bit more in detail that it depends on what they're involved in and what their business entails. If they do different services and program for the community. I mean, if you're a chiropractic office that offers, a mental health service for the community, yes, you'd be eligible. So I think it just kind of depends on circumstances.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Erica.
Hi, I have a follow-up question to a statement you made regarding percentages of budgets. It sounded like you said 15% goes to administrative costs, but could you clarify if there's any other percentages, if you have a list of that, or if that's all, like once you start the application, that's where you find it so that you can create the budget to turn it?
So on the budget cost form that we have that you have to upload, there is no percentages that, only X amount has to go to here or there. We just have a stipulation in the city that there can be no more than 15% of your proposal dedicated to the cost that you're asking. So as long as you're under that 15% breakdown, you're fine. Other than that, there's no other stipulations with percentages.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have Renee.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I came in on the meeting a little late, so I didn't get to hear what all you need to qualify.
Okay, no problem. For anybody that also missed the presentation, this whole workshop is being recorded and it will be uploaded to the website, the Grant Opportunities website. And I can definitely share that in the chat so that way it has a quick link.
Okay.
And that way you'll have it, but so you can always come back to it and revisit all the questions and answers and you have all the information.
Okay.
All right. Are there any other questions I might have missed in the chat? Terry?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
There is one. It says, thank you for the meeting. Is there a sample application available?
We can provide a sample application up on the website. I can definitely do that. And you can also run through it currently. And like I said, you can save and resume, but we can definitely make that a resource available on the website this evening.
And Jordan, can you explain again what the funding sources is for this grant?
Funding sources.
It's Measure AV.
Oh, sorry, just for the different categories?
The question is, what is the funding source for this grant?
Whoever asked that, can you clarify a little bit further?
I think they're asking how are these grants going to be funded?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So sorry, I mistook the question. This grant program is funded through the tax measure, the Measure AV tax measure that was passed in 2020 by voters for the sales tax increase. So this is a piece of that money.
Student of a business license. Since this is a Palmdale tax money, then it will be going to help Palmdale businesses and programs, projects only, right?
So with that one, it will be helping the community of Palmdale. And again, as we've kind of reiterated throughout the meeting, it doesn't have to be an organization that is exactly in Palmdale, but they have to provide direct services to the Palmdale community to be eligible. So they can't just do it to Lancaster and apply.
Okay. If the application is declined, is there an appeal process?
There is not.
And can we reach somebody by phone with questions?
So there is not a dedicated phone line at this time, since this program is fairly new. And we kind of wanted to get it up and running to get, applications out there. Right now, we just have the email. But one of us, when we reach out, we do have our line available to you for that kind of one-on-one connection if need be.
And can we apply if we are new and our organization is less than 1 year in operation?
Right now, the requirement is you have to have 2 years, at least 2 years of operation.
Okay, and this one's quite lengthy. I don't know if it's a question as much as it is a comment. This is from Mr. Root. I'm a proud and active board member for a nonprofit called Elastio, Our Lives as Seen Through Each Other. We started in Watts in 2015, but have expanded to Compton, Crenshaw, East LA.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
I was just making a comment. It wasn't a question.
Okay.
You all are doing wonderful work in the community, and if you would like to partner, if anything feels synergetic, feel free to reach out. That's all. My apologies.
We're always looking for partners, so we will be in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you for the meeting. And can you post the email address for us to contact for your agency for specific questions? I believe that's in the chat already, but if you want to plug it in there again, Jordan.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and send that email over to, let's see. So I sent over the web address. Let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so it's in the chat again. And again, if you call the main city line, and I mean, if you can't find something, a lot of our staff kind of are getting familiar with this program, and they can definitely direct you back to all of us and kind of get the email out there for you. So are there any other questions or other things we can address? And you can go ahead and raise your hand and we can kind of address, and we have a few minutes left.
Jordan, I'd like to just add something. This is Patricia Morales.
Sure.
I just wanted to, I know that there were some smaller nonprofits that had questions about the process, and they had specific concerns about, especially when they have been doing work, but it's a very small nonprofit endeavor. I just would like you to all know that if you have specific questions about the application, please feel free to contact us via the email that Jordan has been talking about. We are very much looking forward to helping, especially the smaller nonprofits, to see if you can be part of this. So I just want to make sure that you're not feeling like this is not for me because I don't have all these things. So if you have questions, especially if you're providing services, if you were doing the work, talk to us, because I think that that's what this is really, for me personally, I think this is what's really important to me, to give you the opportunity. And if you've only been in operations for 1 year, and the requirement by consensus was that we wanted it a 2-year commitment, well, you can still talk to us and we can kind of get you ready for the following year, right? So I just want you to know that that is a genuine desire of the team that's working on this. Jordan, thank you for everything you've done, and please do reach out. Don't just give up, just reach out. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Patricia. All right.
Melissa has her hand raised.
Melissa, are you on? maybe not. She got disconnected maybe. Okay. Well, if you have any other questions and we have some follow-up questions, please reach out to us. We thank you again for participating in our first workshop, and we're really hoping for the success of this program and kind of getting this money out there and kind of seeing the different programs and services it will provide to the community as a whole. And we're looking forward to reviewing all these applications, and I already have some trickling in. So it's been great to see, and we're excited, and we hope that we can be helpful to get you guys all have applications in. So I appreciate everyone's time, and I hope you have a good night.
Jordan, I think Sabrina had a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, yes, I did. Hi, everyone. Wonderful meeting. I was just wondering about when you say that you go to the email, when we're talking one-on-one with you, to what degree of help will you give us? Would you actually help us fill out the application, or just tell us what is needed more so?
We're not going to help physically fill out an application, but we can guide you and answer questions that you might be stuck on, and kind of give you the education to fully submit a full application, and do our best to kind of help with those frustrations that you might encounter, and kind of get you on a smooth road to get it submitted.
Right. And what I was thinking about is if I had documentation, different things, just to verify it first before I send it in, are you allowed to do that?
Yeah, you can definitely kind of, if you have a question saying, hey, I'm not sure about this certain document, you can certainly reach out to us, and we can kind of take your scenario and your type of specifics and say, hey, yeah, you're good. Or, hey, you know what, this threshold requires more documentation. And we can definitely guide you. And like I mentioned before, maybe a smaller threshold might be easier, or a medium. Just kind of depends on what you're kind of pitching.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to take the last couple of questions, and then it will be time. So Stephanie.
Hi, yes, I'm a nonprofit organization. One of my questions is with nonprofits, sometimes we don't get our taxes certified. And I know you guys want 2 years of taxes, which we do our taxes, but they're not certified audited. Is that going to be a problem?
I would have to get back to you on that certain requirement situation, but yes, definitely reach out to us so we can kind of revisit that and make sure that that's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I have Valdemir.
Yes, as we mostly know each other in the community, we work with different organizations. Would that, because I know in the application said, what organization do you work with? So would that be a conflict? Because we mostly know each other here in the AV.
So are you talking about the partnership section?
Yes.
Well, it's really, if you have partnerships, that's where you kind of elaborate. If you don't, you don't. It's just kind of a scoring criteria to see the best applications that are going to do the best for our community based off the money. So if you have partnerships in the works, or you have, definitely jot them down. But if you don't, it's not necessarily have to have, but you will be deducted those points.
Okay. No, okay, because many of them will be also applying. So that's what I was saying. Would that be a conflict if we put, let's say, whoever, and then A, B, and C, then same person will be applying too?
Oh, so you're meaning like if you have partners that are going to be applying from different organizations?
Yes.
So,
go ahead.
So I think, and hi, by the way, hello, Vladimir. So I think that this is kind of more specifically here. If you're partners, if you and an agency are partnering up to provide the service that you're talking about. So yes, there's a lot of organizations that know each other and they work in collaboration or kind of around each other. But if you and your partner are going to be in this grant together, or if you're going to be working in partnership with the grant, that other person cannot be asking for funding for the same activity. I think that's kind of what we're wanting to talk about.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
So
thank
if you're doing activity aid and you're going to be working with partner one on this, partner one cannot apply for activity aid also.
Yeah.
Right? So that, I think that's important to know.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. And then, so the last one is Belva.
Hi, everyone. This is just a quick question. Do you plan to have more workshops like this?
For this round, probably not.
Okay.
As we kind of go forward and time progresses and we kind of, maybe we have extra money, or, you know, it's very successful, it's possible for a future, and kind of as the program grows and it kind of gets more established, we look forward to probably having more seminars and workshops to kind of get the word out and kind of clarification as things kind of change and progress.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, again, I appreciate everyone's participation and joining us, and we look forward to seeing your applications. So please let us know what we can do to help and make it successful. So I hope you all have a good night, and we'll see all your applications. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.